All right. So yes, well, earlier you heard from Gloria about sort of the overview, some of the overview of the Pulitzer electric aircraft race, and I'd just like to talk a little bit more about that, and more specifically about the race itself. So just as we've kind of heard already this morning, and even from Graham, we're entering a new age of aviation. For the last 100 and some years, we've had the internal combustion age, and since about the late 1930s, 1940s, we've entered the jet age. But now we're really on the cusp of a new age of aviation with electric propulsion, which is an exciting for a number of reasons. But one of them is that propulsion always leads design, and so this is just some of the hundreds of different projects that are out there in this in electric aviation. Uh, there's obvious electric propulsion has some operational safety and economic advantages, and so we're right at the beginning of that. And the challenge, however, is that the infrastructure has to maintain is a key pacing element for us and needs to maintain progress there. But the other one, and maybe the biggest one, is that the traveling public has to trust what is essentially at this point a battery operated aircraft. And so that's something that we think the Pulitzer electric aircraft race can help address. So the Pulitzer Electric Race Initiative has a number of components to it. First, of course, is the electric aircraft race, which is designed, at least in this first year, as a single site race, harkening back to the legacy of the Pulitzer races of the 1920s. We'll also have a Electric Flight Expo, which would be part of that during the race days. Hopefully we'll be able to do a STEM engagement, because this race really does open up a really amazing opportunity to talk to the younger generation about electrical aviation, electrical engineering, aeronautical engineering, and how those two things come together, and also um, uh, what that means for inspiring a new generation of engineers. And of course, if you have a race, you have to have an award, and so we'll have an award ceremony as well. So this does leverage over about 100 years of the Pulitzer race, the legacy of that. The Pulitzer race was the culminating event of the national air races in the 1920s, 1920 to 1925 during the national air races. It was known as the speed race, and it was one of the last races held during the national races. And it really, I think, proved the point that competition does spur innovation. So in the 5 or 6 years that the race was held, from 1920 to 1925, the speed of aircraft increased from 156 miles an hour, which was the winning speed in 1920, to almost 250 miles an hour in 1925. And I think we find ourselves almost in that same type of technology curve right now. So the winning speed for our first race will probably not be 300 or 400 miles an hour. It's going to be something in the 100 or maybe a little over. But we'll see that, I think, in the next coming years, we'll see that increase dramatically. And so it's important for us to be able to do this race in 2025 so that we can sort of begin and put a marker. And here we were in 2025, and by the time we get to 2030 or 2035, we'll be, who knows what speeds we'll be reaching, but we'll be certainly greater than where we started. So this is an exciting time to get started with this. So our objectives are to establish this race as a public venue for the advancement of electric aviation and really make it the standard of excellence for electric flight. So the Pulsar race itself will be open to all aircraft of all types using zero emission electric propulsion. So this could be eVTOLs, it could be fixed wing electric powered aircraft. We'll have a 2-day race event. We're targeting sometime in October, hopefully around 10 to 11 October. The course is going to be similar to the ones that were held in the 1920s, be a triangle course. And so it would be 30 miles around one lap of the triangle. We'll make 3 laps for each race, so a total of 90 nautical miles. It'll be a day VFR race. so that this is in the interest of safety and, so that we can accommodate the experimental aircraft out there as well. So we heard from Graham not too long ago that certification is certainly is a big hurdle. And I'm a test pilot by background, so I understand that. So this is going to be open to experimentals. So it's going to be an opportunity for companies, if you have an aircraft that's flying, that's electric aircraft that's flying, then this is a race you need to be in so that you can, basically show the world that you have a operational aircraft. We'll run it in the race in 3 aircraft heats. So 3 laps of the 30 nautical mile course. Day 1, we'll have the preliminary. So those would be 8 or up to 8 preliminary heats. So we're going to be able to accommodate 24 teams for the Pulitzer race. And then the day 2, we'll have 2 semi-final heats. So the 6 fastest aircraft from day 1 will advance to day 2. And then we'll have some time for some recharging after the semifinals. And then the 3 fastest aircraft will compete for the Pulitzer Trophy. We'll collect the times by flight data recorder, do some simple math to figure out 90 nautical miles divided by the time is your speed, and the fastest speed wins. In addition to the race, which we think will be exciting, and just being able to award the Pulitzer Trophy again after 100 years, some of that time spent in the Smithsonian Institute in the National Air and Space Museum will be really exciting. But some of the other things that we hope to do is to really look at the electric transportation, electric aviation, and get the public and increase public awareness and excitement about this new mode of transportation. So we hope to be able to do that with the Electric Flight Expo and have a mini conference, a half-day conference for the professionals like we have here in the audience, I'm sure, to be able to come and talk about electric aviation, where you think it's going. And in addition to that, we'll, in a more public forum, we'll have a kind of a fun festival type environment for the general public to learn about electric aviation, be able to go and see the electric aircraft that we're racing, have a display area for STEM activities and sustainable energy and electric transportation of all kinds. And then, of course, be able to make some announcements and really follow the race as it's going on. So this would be a great time, and maybe the first time that most people will be able to see an actual electric aircraft for themselves. So this really goes back to the type of environment that was set up in the early 1920s, where maybe a lot of people hadn't even really seen an aircraft yet. And the Pulitzer races of that era really paved the way to bringing electric at that time piston engines and aircraft into to pave the way for commercial operations and bringing what we now have as a worldwide transportation network. So we see this as maybe a way to do that for the electric aviation. We'd also like I said, this is a great opportunity for STEM. So we'd like to be able to put some packages together to be able to hand out to students or have field trips from classes and children from the schools in the area, wherever our host city happens to be, so that they can take a look and maybe be part of history and see history in the making. And then, of course, as I said, the Pulitzer Trophy has a wonderful 100-year plus history at this point. It's been in the National Air and Space Museum now for a number of years. And we'd like to bring that and give it new purpose as a race, which really is introducing a new form of propulsion and a new type of aviation. So we'd like to do that, and we'll have an award event someplace in the DC area, hopefully, and be able to award that. As far as our organization, you've already met Gloria earlier today. Dan Sloat, of course, many of you probably know, is the founder and president of the AAM Institute. And I've been as a part of trying to get this race going now for the last few years. And so I'm acting as director for the Pulitzer race. Our contact information is there. If this piqued anybody's interest and you would like to ask any other questions, we hope you could do that. And this is an opportunity also for sponsors and other people to get involved with the race. We have an RFP out, as Gloria mentioned, for host cities. But this is really open to, now's the time if you're a team that has an electric aircraft, whether that's an experimental that you've built yourself, like there's some from the electric or the Experimental Aircraft Association, university that might have electric aircraft as part of their education programs, or a manufacturer. This is the time to contact us and let us know that you are interested in being part of the race. And then just other people too. This is a big industry. So there's chargers, there's manufacturers, there's plenty of people in companies that are making other products that will service those manufacturers, and so you can be part of this race as well. It's really open to show the diversity of design and the breadth of this burgeoning and new transportation infrastructure. So I think that's all for my presentation. I just would say thank you and hope to hear from you soon.
All right, thank you very much. Indeed. And now